If you were once a 12-year-old boy, chances are you were into one of three things: Transformers, the Star Wars prequels, or crystal orbs inhabiting ineffable nature. I was personally never a Transformers kid myself, but that's cool if you were. Anyway, there is no segue. We're talking about a parkour game today. Not that one. Rooftops and Alleys is a big ol' sandbox for your every free-running dream, and this shit is pure childish fun for me. It reminds me of when I used to mindlessly play Skate 3 at my friend's house and just enjoying the satisfyingly smooth movement and the adrenaline rushing through me when I managed to pull off a radical trick at high speed. I recently did a sick trick driving my car while under the influence, and now I'm being taken to court. So what is Rooftops and Alleys? Well, on the game's Steam page it states, "In this game there is no hold button to parkour mentality. Here, the player is in control." And I think that's the best description of the game you'll get. This game is for those people who want to be in charge of how they vault over obstacles, what kind of flip they do in the air, what route they take to scale a building. When I mentioned Skate 3, I did so for a reason, and that is because Rooftops and Alleys has the same core gameplay loop as Skate, but you're parkouring rather than riding a skateboard. It is pure, mindless fun, and it's one of those games that you can really get addicted to just because of how simple it is to pick up and play. There's quite a few tricks you can learn, and you can check them out in the controls menu. So for example, you're able to do this, and how about this? Ooh! In my experience, the game was tricky to get a hang of for the first hour or so, but you do start to get accustomed to the flow of things and the timings and stuff after. I will say, this game can be hard to pick up and learn, but it's really easy to master. More on that later. There's also a first-person mode for those of you who are into that. This shit reminds me of those YouTube videos I used to watch back when I was 12, of those guys climbing skyscrapers while they had GoPros strapped to their heads. There's a stabilized and non-stabilized option, depending on whether you prefer smooth, free-running gameplay or a shaky and all-over-the-place camera. I love how the developer understands their audience and really leans into what the people would want. This game is what you get when the developer is creating their own dream game. Similarly to Skate 3, you can set a respawn marker wherever you want, and you can also turn into a pigeon. So now it's got my Game of the Year vote too. The pigeon mechanic does actually have a practical use of being able to basically teleport you to any part of the map. At the time of writing this video, the only activity in this game are the time trials, but multiplayer and tag have been announced. I don't have any friends, but I'm happy for all of you that do. Anyway, time trials. Yes, so when you open up the game, you get the option of 4 sandboxes to make your playground. You pick one, and then you can either just go around free roaming and doing tricks and epic gamer shit, or you can partake in the time trials and try getting the fastest time you possibly can on each of them. These are pretty easy to get gold on, but there's quite a few of them on each map, so that's there for the people who might want to have an objective provided to them. I will say though, I do hope for more activities or game modes in the future, kind of how like Skate 3 had an entire catalog of stuff to do, but this is a brand new game by a solo dev. Hey, Rome wasn't built in a day, I get that. There is an original soundtrack made for this game with about 4 to 7 songs, I don't know the exact number, and there are some bangers on there, some lo-fi beats to zipline to, but it does get really repetitive after 2 or so hours because the songs just loop over and over and over again. I just end up muting the music and playing JPEG Mafia personally. You can also customize your character. Yep, this cute little fella. He's actually got a really fucking cool design. I'm glad that the developer didn't make him a photorealistic human model, because this just makes you feel so much cooler, and real humans are gross and yuckers.
Alright, I'm multiplying, which is great because I need to kill all these little red men.
If you're wondering why my gameplay so far has been pretty grainy and blurry, it's actually because I recorded all of this on the Steam Deck, and I'm glad to report back that that Rooftops and Alleys runs beautifully on it at a silky smooth 60 frames per second. Alright, we're gonna get into the nitty and gritty in a moment. Play in the pig pen, if you will. But first, I'd like to quickly shout out the solo developer crafting this game that so many people have yearned for. I actually discovered this game while browsing YouTube because the developer actually uploads little update videos on the Rooftops and Alleys channel, so check that out if you're interested. Earlier in this video, I mentioned that this game is really easy to master, so I want to go into that a little bit more right now. I've got about 6 hours of playtime right now, and I feel like I've done and seen it all. I know every trick in the book, I've climbed up and down every building multiple times, and now I'm just starting to take the same old routes every time I boot up the game. So there's two things that could fix my issue of having done everything. Obviously, more moves in the future would be nice. I want to see more ways to vault over stuff, and new sorts of flips and cartwheel combos and shit. There's a good foundation here, but like I said, you kind of end up learning everything in the first few hours. Also, new maps would be really nice, but what I would personally want more is for the original maps to be expanded. While they do look pretty big when you first start playing the game, you soon realize that there isn't a whole lot of places to go. I would love to be able to spend 3 to 5 minutes running in any given direction of any given map and not encounter any borders or invisible walls or whatnot. But like I said, this game is brand new, made by a solo developer, and it's really good for what it is right now. There are pretty frequent updates. Like I said, the multiplayer is coming out soon, which is a big feature, so the development of this game seems to be moving at a really rapid pace. I'm really looking forward to what's being cooked up here. I imagine this game will be wildly different when I revisit it in a year or so. Now, here's a fun raccoon fact. You stink. See ya.